Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I hope everybody's having a wonderful week. This is Barry Norman. I'm the Educational Director for Option Rally, and I want to welcome you to our class, Welcome to Binary Options. Now, I'd appreciate it very much if you could real quickly locate on your computer monitor the screen that lets you chat with me and type in questions and answers. And just let me know that you can hear this announcement all right. And sometimes the audio isn't working correctly, and I just want to make sure that you can all hear correctly. And we're getting started right now, but if you could type that in and let me know, I would appreciate it. Now, today's class is part of what we call Binary Options Trading Camp. It's a series of 3 free classes that will help you start out trading binary options successfully. Class number 1 is today's class. It's called Welcome to Binary Options. Today we're going to try to give you a general introduction to what these investment vehicles are. They're the fastest growing investment vehicles in the world. And we're going to try to give you some understanding and concept of exactly what you're getting involved in. The next class is called Getting Started with Binary Options. And that's once you've decided you really are seriously interested in trading these and you want to learn how you can make money and what's involved in trading. And then I'm going to show you how to trade binary options, how to use our website. I will show you where to find the news and the information in the internet. I will show you how to read some charts, and I'll give you a basic beginner strategy. After that is class number 3, which is called Mastering the Option Rally Trading Site. That class is developed for people who are ready to actually start trading and want to understand and learn how to use our platform correctly. And I will take you through our entire trading platform. I'll show you how easy it is to make a trade. I'll show you where all the little secret hidden information is, like where our advanced charts are, our beginners charts, where our education is, how to use all the different screens and settings, where you can find risk management tools, where you can find money management tools, and everything to get you completely familiar with all the features we offer on our trading platform. Now, each one of these classes is freestanding, meaning you can come to one class or another individually. You don't have to come to them in order. It helps if you do come in order, but you can come in whatever order you please, and you'll be able to learn from any of the classes because I take you from the very beginning through the end. And all of these classes are offered multiple times a month, and so you can come at your leisure depending on what fits your time schedule. So feel free to join us at any time. They're also recorded, and a few days after the classes are presented, they're available on our YouTube channel. And you're welcome to go there and watch reruns of the classes. Now, each class is always unique because we're always talking about the current market situation, where there's no script, so to speak. The PowerPoint you watch is just my guidelines to keep us on track. But otherwise, we are talking about live events in the market. So to start off today, let's talk about what binary options are. And as I explain this to you, I'm going to pop up something on your screen called a poll. Now, these polls just help us give better classes and better understand our traders. When your screen turns blue, there'll be a question up there. If you just use your mouse and click off the appropriate answer, I would appreciate. We're not gathering any personal data. In fact, the software that we're using only feeds me back percentages of answers. Like it'll say 20% of people clicked on A, 20% will click on C, but I don't see any personal data, and we don't ask any really personal questions anyway. And I just appreciate it while I'm talking to you if you could click off the appropriate screen. I'm going to launch one now while I start to tell you what binary options are and see if we can get you started with one. And you'll see how easy they are. Your screen should turn blue. There you go. There we go. Okay, now binary options are an easy-to-trade, high-profit, minimum-risk investment. Now, I wrote down that sentence, so let me explain it to you, just what I mean, easy to trade. Well, first of all, when you're trading binary options, you're simply deciding if an asset is going to go up or down in the short term. You are only making a simple decision. That's the only choice you have, up or down. Okay. There is no leverage and margin, so there's no hidden risk. If you type in $12 into the screen, that's the amount of your investment, period, the end. There's no smoke and mirrors. There's no other complexities. You make 4 decisions when you start to trade. All of your decisions are made up front. Even your profit is determined because, again, your only decision is to go up or down, not how far up or how far down it's going to go, only that it's going to go in that direction. So you only have 2 choices of an outcome, technically 3 because there could be a tie. Okay, but all you're deciding is gold going to go up in the next 15 or 20 minutes? Or is crude oil going to come down in the next 15 or 20 minutes? And it's easy to make these decisions in short-term time frames. And when your decision is limited to just up or down, how difficult is it? You start out with a 50-50 probability of being correct to begin with. After that, we just have to, through education, knowledge, and training, move you to about a 62 or 63%, and you'll start making steady profits. So it's pretty easy to do. Now, some people say, is this really investing? Well, my definition of investing is anytime you take a small amount of capital, apply some knowledge, experience, know-how, and always a wee bit of luck, and turn it into a higher amount of capital or make profit. That's investing. But look, in 2006 and 2007, all those people buying real estate lost their shirts, but it was still investing. When you buy a business, you're still investing. When you buy a piece of art or a piece of jewelry, you're investing. You're hoping that the outcome will be positive when you go to sell it or do whatever you want. But it is investing. Okay. Now, with binary options, things are very, very easy. If you know how to do or are comfortable doing internet shopping, you understand how to find information using Google or any of the other internet services, you know how to use a computer, and you're comfortable doing things like online banking, you'll be perfectly fine trading binary options. All the information, all the data you need is easily available free of charge in the internet. Okay. And this is what's made retail investing so popular. Years ago, you couldn't get this data unless you subscribed to high-priced services and unless you had these advanced computers. In fact, when I started trading, you had to have ticker tapes. And therefore, you couldn't compete in this market. Today, we get the data fed to us just as fast and just as quickly as central bankers, pension funds, and hedge funds managers. So when you can get that data just that fast, you can trade with the big boys. Now, when you're trading binary options, you are only making 4 decisions. You just follow these simple little steps. You start out with an asset. Now, a lot of people say, what's an asset? Okay. Well, in the financial markets, assets come in 4 classes. You have currencies, or foreign exchange, Forex, which is the money from all the countries around the globe. Then you have commodities. Commodities are things we can consume, like gold, oil, wheat, corn, cotton, coffee, livestock, energy products. They all fall under commodities. Now, because you are trading in the live global markets, you can only trade those commodities that are traded on global exchanges. For instance, you can't trade peppers, which are very heavily traded in India, because they're only traded in India, and the value from one exchange to another changes dramatically. Okay. So when you're trading in the big commodities market, you have to trade things that are available on the London Metals Exchange, the COMEX and the NYMEX in New York, that are standardized pricing around the globe. You can also trade stocks. You can trade stocks from all the exchanges around the globe. But you have to remember, you can only trade those stocks when those indexes are open. So in other words, when the Asian markets are closed, you can't trade something that's traded on the Nikkei. Or when the U.S. markets are closed, you can't trade something that's on the U.S. markets. Okay? Because all the data on the website is fed in by live feeds from the global exchanges. So you're trading in the live markets. Now, for this type of investing, all you have to do is determine whether it's the stock, the currency, the commodity is going to go up or down. After that, you have to decide if that's going to happen now or later. Now, this is a little bit confusing to people. Why now or later? Well, most trades, 85% of all trades are done in what's called the now, which is the next expiry time, which is usually 15 minutes to a half hour, okay, depending on the asset. And it tells you right there. But you can also select the end of the day, the end of the week, the end of the month. You can get assets to close all the way to June of this year, 2014. Now. Why would you want to do these? Well, for instance, we know the Federal Reserve is meeting right now, and we know tomorrow they're going to come out and make an announcement. We think the Feds are going to taper more. If they add more tapering, that means the dollars can go up and gold is going to go down. So we would want to enter the gold market when it was high before the event, because we think it's going to go down after the event. So we could pick an expiry after the event happened. Or if we think traders are going to push down gold before the announcement, we can take it earlier in the day to close right before the announcement. So you can schedule your trades to close around particular times. Or another example is when crude oil went crazy a couple months ago when we had the Egypt mess, we had the Syria chemical stuff, and crude oil hit about $111, which is a record high. You weren't sure how soon this would ease and when it would tumble back down, but we know in 60 days from then, crude oil would come back to its normal trading zone, maybe a little bit higher, but it wasn't going to stay up at that all-time high. So we could buy crude oil to sell later to say it's going to go down, and we could close it, say we want an expiry in 2 months. That means you just sit tight for 2 months. As long as it's below that $111 2 months from now, you're fine. You made your profit. Last decision you have to make is how much you want to invest. Well, with binary options, you can start out as low as $12 per trade, and you can make trades up to $5,000. It's completely up to you, your money management skills, your portfolio, to decide what you want to trade. But the only risk you have is the dollar amount you type in the screen. So if you type in $12, there's no leverage or margin. There's nothing hidden. Okay. Your only exposure is the $12. Not that you're putting a deposit down like you do in the commodities and currency market. Your $12 is just a deposit, and you have a risk of $1,000 or $2,000. No. Whatever dollar amount you type in the screen is your entire risk and exposure. So you can start out with a small amount of money and slowly trade larger and larger amounts of money. If you're not sure about a trade, you just trade a little bit amount of money. And all of your decisions, these are the only 4 decisions you can make, they're all made before you actually enter a trade. You also know exactly what your profit's going to be because all you're deciding is that the assets can go up or down. So if you decide you're going to trade crude oil and it's going to go up, it's going to tell you right on the screen it's going to pay 80% if it's gone in the direction you say. So if you invested $100, you're going to get back $80 profit. Sometimes binary options are called fixed return options because your profit or your return is fixed at the time you made the investment. So you're no longer guessing how many pips it will go up and will it go up higher and can I close. As long as it went 1/1000th of a point, that's called 1 pip, in the direction you said it was, you are in the money and you make exactly the same amount of money. In other words, if gold is trading at $1,250 today and you say gold is going to go up and gold goes up to $1,250.50, you make the same amount of profit if gold went all the way up to $1,300. That's it. All you have to worry about is it goes in the direction in which you said it would at the expiry of your trade. You know your risk before you make a trade, and you know your profit. So how hard is it to make 4 decisions, and everything is pretty well known? Now, I'm going to take you over live to our trading floor, and I'm going to show you. Today you don't know how to make a trade or why you make a trade, but I'm going to take you over and just show you how these steps are done and how easy and friendly it is to trade on our platform. So we're going to give it a second, and it'll be live trading floor. There you go. This is the actual trading floor live at Option Rally. Now, as you can see, we're looking at the euro US dollar. You can pick your asset by simply scrolling down this list of assets. You see the commodities, the currencies, and you see what's open to trade at the moment. Okay. So today for class, let's go, since we've been talking about gold, let's go down to gold. We'll scroll down to gold. We can see that gold is currently trading at, well, first of all, we see that everything turns to gold. We see the picture of gold. We see the next expiry is at 6:30, which is in about 14 minutes. Okay, we can see gold is trading currently at 1259.435. We have a live chart in here. We can see the price moving. We can see gold had topped out a little bit higher earlier this morning. This chart just covered the last half hour. You can adjust the charts to see farther down. Okay, and we see gold is going to pay back 75%. Okay. This is already pre-decided if you're going to make this trade. Now, if we decide we're going to invest $100 today, we can see right here that gold's going to pay us back $175. We also see we have 2 minutes and 50 seconds to actually enter this trade for this expiry. So we're going to look at this chart, and we think gold's dipped back down, but we think it's going to climb back up. Now, we're not doing any proper analysis today. We're just taking a guess because I just want to show you how easy it is. So we see the asset. We see the expiry. We've typed in our amount. We think gold's going to go up. We're going to click on the up button. Okay. As soon as we do that, we're going to apply our trade. We're going to approve our trade, and we've actually entered our trade in gold. So we've invested $100 to get back $175, and the close of the trade will be at 6:30, which is in 13 minutes. If we scroll down on our screen, let me get all these markings off for you. If we scroll down on the screen, we can see our actual trade. The trade has actually been formally made. We can see the position number, which is the global record of the number. We can see our asset we traded. We can see the strike price, which is the price we entered the market. We can see that we said it's going to go up. Right now, it hasn't moved anywhere. Okay. We can see that we invested $100. And if we want to see a chart on our particular trade, all we have to do is click on this little chart button, and we can actually track our entire trade. This is our actual trade. This little round circle here is our trade, and we'll see the market move up and down. And we can see it's still sitting right at the same price. The payouts will be $100 because it's a tie. If it ticks up in our direction, we'll see it go green, and we'll see it turns to 175. But it's just that easy to trade. That's all that you can do. There's nothing else. There are nothing else to enter a trade. This is it. You're done, and now you're going to sit back and wait for the profit to be put in your portfolio. So we can see on this chart that gold has gone in our direction. It's in the green. We can see it's turned to green here. It's telling us now we've earned $175 when the trade closes, and we're just going to sit back and wait for the 6:30 expiry. It is that simple. Those are the only steps. So somebody else, okay, somebody wants to trade the Australian dollar this morning. Let's see if the Australian dollar is open at the moment. It probably is. It's Australia. This is Australia. There we go. Australian dollar. It tumbled way down this morning. It's been very, 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 very weak. We think the Australian dollar at 6:30 is going to close. Well, we're going to invest $50. We see to pay out 75%. We're going to get back $87.50. We see it tick down. We think it's going to go back up before then. We're going to apply the trade. We're going to approve the trade. And we've now got a trade open in the Australian dollar. We've invested $50. Okay? And it's just that simple. That's all we have to do. So our gold trade's way in the money. We're sure to make profit here. We're going to wait for the Australian dollar to move, but that's all you have to do. There is no other choices. There's no other smoke and mirrors. There's no other things. Now, there are other types of trading. There's long-term, which is exactly the same, except long-term is the longer expiries we were talking about. There's 60-second, which is the same exact trade, except it closes in 60 seconds from the time you entered the trade. Lastly, we have pairs. Pairs are very unique trading. It matches two stocks or two assets or two commodities against each other, and you're determining if one will go up or down more than the other for the day. So, excuse me. So like yesterday, Google bought a new company, a robotics company called DeepMind, and at the same time, Apple revised their growth forecast. Okay, so Apple stocks went down after the markets closed, and Google went up. So you could have traded those against each other. You don't have to know exactly what the rest of the markets are doing. Just you can say Apple's going to keep going down or Google's going to keep going up, and as long as it goes, one of the two of them do what you said, you make profit. But that's pairs trading. But 85% of all the trades in binary options are made under the binary options up-down style, the first one we looked at. Okay, so I'm going to launch one more poll while I take you back over to the PowerPoint, and we get ready for the rest of the class here. By the way, there is a screen in front of you. I just popped up another poll, but when that closes, there's a screen that you can type in questions and answers. Please feel free to type in whatever questions you might have, because don't feel that they're stupid, bad, or improper questions. Most likely, if you didn't understand something, you did the rest of the class. So it's very important that everybody understand anything. So feel free to type in your questions. If it's a question about today's class, I'll do my best to answer it for everybody. If it's more a one-on-one question, I will try to type you back an answer while I'm giving the class, but sometimes that's very difficult because there's a lot of things going on behind the screens. But don't worry, Option Rally is all about customer support. If I don't answer the question, somebody from customer support will send you a personal email with all of the information that you need. Okay, somebody asked, where does Option Rally get the money to pay investors, assuming the majority of people went in the right way? It's just like all the other markets around the world. Every trade is matched off. Option Rally it's not a casino. We're not a house. Okay, you're not betting against Option Rally. There's no betting here. So there's a buyer for every seller. If say we have 100 people buying the euro and 100 people selling the euro, it gets matched up in our system. So there's a winner and a loser for each trade. If there's more than a specific amount, then we sell it off in the global markets to through the exchanges, so that every trade is matched off. We're not a house. Okay, so Option Rally, we are we're licensed on the Securities Exchange Commission of Cyprus, because we're based in Cyprus. We are a licensed regulated broker. This puts us under the rules and the laws of all the brokers around that are regulated around the globe, and especially in the Eurozone, which means, number one, your money is segregated. We can't invest your money, touch your money. You can trade with your money. And it means that we can't be the house. We're not holding your trades. So just because here today the euros has lots of buyers, prices always, the amount of buyers and sellers always balance out, because that's what makes the price. Okay. So when there's more buyers and more sellers, the price goes up. Okay. When there's more sellers than buyers, the price goes down. So that's really how the market works. Okay. So let me take you back over to PowerPoint. I hope I answered your question. And we're going to go back to the PowerPoint, and we're going to go see a little bit more about what these things are. I'm just waiting for it to pop up on your screen. There we go. So now it's time to learn what binary options are. Binary options are also known as digital or fixed return options. They are a simple yet exciting method of trading in the financial market based on the determination of whether the price of an asset will close above or below the current price in a set period of time. So it's just like I've been explaining to you. You're going to decide whether an asset, whichever one you choose, is going to go up or down before the expiry. Binary options trading is based on speculation of prices driven by recent economic events. Trading in binary options involves high volatility movement and a minimal risk of loss, but it does have the possibility of loss. So you should always pursue a responsible and disciplined approach to the market using risk capital only. This is meaning money you can afford to lose. If you call me on the phone and say, Barry, I'd like to deposit $5,000 and I want to start trading and investing, but I need this $5,000 back in 2 weeks to pay my mortgage, I'm going to tell you, unfortunately, this is not going to happen, and we can't take your money. Because you can't come to this market and expect to make a trade and get a trade that's going to pay off for you overnight. You need to come here with risk capital, extra money that you can afford to take your time and turn into profit and learn how to trade in the markets. And at the same time, you can wait until an appropriate trade presents itself. Too many people, oh, look at that, I'm going to trade that up. Look at that, I'm going to trade. No, the whole idea is you wait. You learn one strategy at a time, and you may sit back and you may only get a couple trades in today while you're watching. You may not get anything in for 3 days because you only know one strategy, and you're going to stick with that one strategy because you want to make sure you pick only the trades that are doing exactly what you know it should do and make that trade. So you need not to be under pressure to perform. Now, if you said to me, Barry, I'll get in I want to invest or deposit $5,000. I'll make slow, small investments. And what I do is I hope I can cover my Christmas shopping next year or my vacation next winter. I'll say most likely you can. So just take your time, come to class, learn, and you should be able to do that very easily. Now, I'm going to try to explain to you what binary options are in an analogy that I kind of developed, and it's called the story of three houses. Well, I tell you the story, I'm going to pop up another poll for you. I thank you all for filling them out. I really appreciate that. And the story of three houses is I tried to give you an understanding of what the different markets are and what binary options are based on things we understand, like the housing market. So on the end of the street are three houses. They're all identical, and they're all available. So you walk into house number one, and you know, it's your buddy. You didn't know he was the real estate agent for that house. You say, hey, Jim, I want to buy that house. He says, that's cool. It's 99,000 euros. You say, fine. I'll take it for 99,000 euros. I'll get my solicitors start drawing up the papers. The assessors will come. The tax people will have the appraisers come out. We'll check the foundation, and if everything's fine, in about 30 days when everything's done, we'll sign the documents. I'll swap the deed for the money, and everything will be cool. You shake hands, you agree on everything, and then out the door you go, and a team of professionals go to work. Okay? And 30 days from now, the deal's done. You own the house. You move in, and everybody's happy. But this is ownership. You bought the house. You own it. It's yours. You can hold on to it. You can sell it. You can borrow against it. You can extend it. You can you can rent it out. It's yours. Okay? But you're responsible for the upkeep, the maintenance, and taxes. And hopefully in a couple years from now, when you're ready to sell it, move up to a bigger house, it's made some profit. But it's yours. You can leave it to your children. You can give it to somebody. You can do as you please. It is an asset that belongs to you. So that's ownership. And that is like the stock market. In the stock market, you actually buy shares of a publicly traded corporation. Now, you may buy 10 shares of Microsoft or Google, and that may mean you own a pebble in their driveway. But you know what the company's worth on their books. You know what their sales are. You know what their financial statement is. And you know how many shares were issued. And of those shares that were issued, your name on a computer somewhere along the world is tied back and says you own those shares. Now, it used to be, and you can still sometimes get them, you can actually have the shares issued to you in your name. And then once you have the shares, you can put them in your safe deposit box. You can leave them to your children. You can sell them. You can borrow against them. They have an asset value. They are yours. You own them. It is the stock market. But it requires a big amount of capital. And the stock market historically will pay back 10 to 12% over the long term because it'll go up one day, down the next day. It'll be in a rut for a couple of years. But historically, stocks pay back about 10 or 12%. Okay? And that's no different than the housing market. Unless it's a real strange housing market and you want to sell your house to net the profit and move out, that's fine. But most people buy their house, live in it for most of their life, and they sell it down the road for more than they bought it for, but they paid down their mortgage and they walk away with a tidy sum for their retirement. Okay? But this is ownership. We can understand this concept. After that, we come to what we call the commodities and the currency market, or the Forex market. Now, in these markets, you actually never take delivery of a particular asset. You buy and sell the rights to purchase or sell that asset at a particular time at a particular price. So if you want to go into the foreign exchange market, the currency market, and you want to buy one contract of euros, that's 100,000 euros. Now, if you wanted to really buy those euros, you'd go to the bank and give them $136,000 in US dollars, and you get 100,000 euros. You'd have them in your hand, or you could have them in a euro account, but you can take them home, put them under your mattress. But that takes us back to ownership. You actually own them. You have the physical possession, and you put it under your mattress. But in the currency market, because you're not taking ownership, you're putting down a small deposit or a premium to tie up that one contract. Okay? Now, sometimes the contract's $200, $300, $400. That's a deposit. It's a premium. It's not your risk. Okay? It allows you to go in there for a couple $100 and tie up a huge amount of money. But what too many people forget is you have also the risk as well as the profit. So to protect yourself, because you can't afford to risk more than the $200 or $300 or $400, you have to put what's called a stop loss, because the minute that commodity or the currency drops below the value of your account and the cash you put down, your broker needs to be whole. So he's going to call you and you're going to have to make another deposit, or he's going to close your position. But because you can only afford, the most you can afford to lose is $500, you have to put a stop loss at that $500 limit level. On 100,000 euros, that stop loss at $500 is just a few little pips. And if during the day Angela Merkel came out and said something, it pushed the euro down for a second, and then it turned around and went skyrocket because Mr. Draghi said something else, you got stopped out because you couldn't afford to have more than $500 loss. So you told your broker, if it drops down to more than $500 loss, to close your sale, to close your trade, because you couldn't afford the exposure. It's very complicated. It's a complex, involved trade. And so too many people go into the currency and commodities market and lose their shirt in one or two trades and they're long gone. Okay. Lots of them. If you call a Forex or a currency broker, tell them you want to open an account for $500, they'll accept your money, but they'll be laughing at you at the same time because they know the minute you open a trade, you're going to have to give them some more money. Okay. When you come to binary options, $500 is a sizable account. You can trade as low as $12. It means you can make an awful lot of trades, and you have no other risk. So imagine in the commodities market, you want one contract of crude oil. That's 1,000 barrels of crude oil or 42,000 gallons. Well, crude oil moves 40 cents in that one day, and you have 1,000 barrels, and it went down 40 cents. Guess what? You just lost $400. Okay, even though you only put down a $200 deposit. Now, it sounds horrible, but the commodities market and the currency market are great ways to make huge profits if you know what you're doing. They are very, very profitable. You have to be a knowledgeable, experienced trader and understand how the markets and how the financial markets work, how the currencies, how the commodities trade, and then you can deal with the complexity of actually making the trade and protecting your loss. So I explain this when we talk about a housing market like a lease option to buy. Now, a lot of people don't understand what a lease option to buy is. Okay? So what happens is you walk in house number 2, and that's your old friend Jimmy there too. Say, Jimmy, I'd like to buy the house. He says it's like the house next door. It's 99,000 euros. So here's the problem, Jimmy. I don't have the 99,000 euros. I've got a settlement coming exactly 1 year from today, and I'll have the money. But I want this house. So Jimmy says, well, the owners need to sell this house because he's moving to his new house. He says, I'll tell you what, we can lease you the house for the year. Okay. You pay the upkeep, the rent, the taxes, and give me a $2,000 premium, and we'll take the house off the market now. 1 year from now, you give us the 99,000 euros, and the house is yours. But you have to take care of all of the other stuff for the 1 year period. If 1 year from now you don't, you've got to leave the house. We keep your $2,000 premium. You paid the taxes, the upkeep, maintenance for a year. You don't get any of that back, and you're just out on your own. Well, a year from now, you get your settlement check. You pay Jimmy the 99,000 euros. Everybody's happy. You actually paid a couple of dollars higher because you had to take it up the market. But you lived in the house for a year, so everything worked out fine. It was a smart move. You're happy. You got exactly what you wanted. Now, on the other hand, the market boomed. The housing market went through the roof. That 99,000 euro house is now worth 119,000 euros. Okay. And somebody drives by, a real estate agent drives by and says, look, we have a client who wants to buy your house. They'll pay you 119,000 euros. So, well, I don't really own the house, but I have a contract with Jimmy for 99,000 euros. I'll tell you what, you give me the 20,000 euros difference, I'll turn over the contract for you, and the guys can give Jimmy the 99,000 euros, and I make my 20,000 euro profit and go away. Sounds great. It works great. It can happen all the time during a booming market. But on the other hand, the housing market drops a little bit, and the house is only worth $94,000, and the house next door to you is back on the market for $94,000 because those people got to move. And you still got to pay Jimmy his 99,000 euros. Okay, so it can go against you, but you don't care because you're tying it up for a long time. You're moving it. But this is how the commodities and currency market. You have to know how to trade in them. You have to know how to protect yourself, but you can make very high profits. But you have to be very, very knowledgeable, and you have to have the money to cover the movement of the markets. But it's a very good way to trade, and that's how you trade in the currency, commodities, and options market. Then we come to binary options. Binary options take the best features of ownership and Forex trading, combines them in one easy package. You can buy gold or oil, the euro, the dollar, as well as most popular stocks and indices through binary options trading. You can even buy Google, Twitter, and Facebook. You only need to make 4 basic decisions when you're ready to enter the market, and then you sit back and wait for the expiry time and the profits to be placed in your account. So imagine binary options is like renting an asset for a period of time. You have limited risk and limited responsibility, and all your decisions are made up front. So in other words, you walk into house number 3, you walk in there, that's your other friend, Jimmy. So you have Jimmy, and Jimmy. And he says, Jimmy, I don't want to buy your house. I don't want to lease your house. I just want to rent your house. He says, fine, no problem. He said, here's a 1-page contract, sign on the bottom. Give me a deposit of 500 euros. Send me a check each month for 500 euros. Move in there tomorrow. It's yours for a year. If you want to renew at the end of the year, you can. It's yours. All your decisions are made up front. It's a small, little, easy transaction. and it doesn't require lots of complexity, lots of professionals. It's an easy process to do. So what you end up having now is you have 3 identical houses all next to each other. The 3 houses have the same value. Okay, so you have the owned house, the leased house, and the rented house. Can you tell the difference? Nope. It's the same asset, same value. It's just a different type of financial application, a different type of financial process. So unless you come out and talk to your neighbors at a barbecue, they won't have any idea that you're renting, he's leasing, and you own. Okay. Now, imagine this is gold. Well, you decide you wanted to buy your wife a nice piece of gold jewelry, and you went to the jeweler's and you bought her a 1-ounce piece of gold. Okay, but it was a 1-ounce necklace. Okay, you paid $1,250 an ounce, and you paid $1,250 for that necklace. You took it home and you owned it. Okay. Well, in the meantime, I decided I wanted to go into the commodities market and buy or trade gold, and gold was trading at $1,250 an ounce. So I could tie up one contract. But here, I tied up that one contract of gold for a $100 deposit. So my outlay of cash was only $100. But I still had the same exposure because if gold dropped, I'd have to cover it. But if I own gold and gold went down in value, I would have lost some of my asset, but I don't have to cover it because I own it. It's mine. I can sit and do with it what I please. My wife's going to wear it forever, so it doesn't matter. I'm not going to go in the market and resell it. Now, lastly, you came over to binary options and you rented that gold. Well, you rented that gold for $1,250. You never took possession of it. You had no other exposure, and you only wanted a $12 piece of that gold. And gold went up, you made your money. Gold went down, you lost your money. It was an easy transaction. And the gold you traded here was at $1,250. The gold you leased here was at $1,250. And the gold you bought was at $1,250. The same assets working the same way with the same values, the same interconnection to all the markets. It's just that binary options is the easier way of trading. It's the smallest exposure with the least risk and requires the least amount of experience and knowledge. It's a great place to start learning how to trade in the markets. When you enter the world of binary options, as I go over this next step, I'm going to pop up another poll. And when you enter the world of binary options, you are entering the global markets. Binary options allows you to trade assets from almost all exchanges around the globe. Okay. Binary options are traded live, and this is something you have to remember. You are trading from the live global markets. All the feeds, all the prices on the site are coming from the live global markets. There is no spread. When you see the price on our chart, you can look above at the Reuters ticker tape, and you'll see that the price is the same. And you are trading from live feeds. There's no smoke and mirrors. There's no delayed reaction. Everything is traded in live markets. You can trade from virtually anywhere around the globe that has an internet connection, regardless of speed. You can trade using almost all types of computers, tablets, or smartphones. Option Rally allows you to trade anywhere at any time. Okay. Now, this is the perfect place to develop your skills, your abilities, and knowledge before jumping into the deep end of the pool. You know, you've heard me talk about the commodities and the currency market, and this is where most people would like to go trade. But unless you have $5,000 to put up there in an account and willing to risk it, it's a big risk. For binary options, you can think of it as the trading camp or the trading ground or the boot camp or the minor leagues or the junior college. This is where you can come for a small investment and learn to be the best trader you can be. Here we will give you open an account for $500. We're going to give you all the attention you need. We're going to give you one-on-one training. We're going to give you all of our classes, our webinars. We're going to teach you how the markets work, and you'll be able to make easy, less complex trades. Once you know down the road, you understand how the price of gold is affected by what the Federal Reserve does, and what the Federal Reserve does is affected what happening in emerging markets, and why the emerging markets are pushing up the Japanese yen, and why the Japanese yen is having an effect on the Chinese data, and why the Chinese data is killing the Australian dollar. And once you understand all of this and how it all works together and how to trade, then you can jump off and go into the bigger markets where you have higher risk and the potential for higher profit. So now if you're ready to get started, you've heard all about binary options, you understand what they are, you understand how easy they are to trade. If you make a deposit today or anytime this week, you're always going to be invited to our binary options trading camp. The 3 classes are free and available to anybody. But you'll also be then invited, once you make a deposit, to our education classes. These are live classes taught each week on different parts of the market so you can become a very educated trader. We also have live trading events. We have special events like on Wednesday we are trading the Federal Reserve statement, and what it means is 15 minutes before the Feds make their statement, we're going to get together as a group. We're going to analyze the markets, analyze what we expect, get ready to trade, and then we're going to make trades together. You'll be invited to our premium webinars, which are live trading seminars and specialty webinars. You'll be invited to our classes on all kinds of things and be able to participate in all of these things once you've made a deposit. But you can come to all the classes from the Binary Options Trading Camp, the free webinars, until you make a deposit. And you're welcome to come learn everything. At Option Rally, there is no charge for education. Education is free. There's no charge for anything. There's no commission. There's no fees. All we want you to do is keep on trading. Okay, now, there's several easy ways to reach us, and I'll go over these with you. I'm going to pop up the last poll here while I go over the last few things. Now, you can go to our website at www.optionrally.com and just click on the button with the live chat. You will be connected to somebody directly in our office. This is not a computer service. They are directly in our office in Cyprus, and you speak to someone right in our office. You can also use our drop-down menu under Call Us, and you'll see the local numbers. You can call us, or the easiest way is to sit back, and within 24 hours, somebody from our sales support team will call you and see if you're ready to open an account, also answer any questions you have, and at the same time, they're going to ask you how the webinar was today. So I would appreciate it very much if you gave them honest answers. Don't tell Barry was wonderful. Give them honest answers, because it's the only way I improve the classes, and they feed back everything you say to them. Plus, you're going to get some polls from the software that we're offering, some survey. Honest answers. If you didn't understand something, I talked too fast, I did something you didn't like, please tell me. It's the only way I can improve these. So I would appreciate it greatly if when someone from our sales office did call, if you just pick up the phone and say hello. Okay, it's the easiest way to get an account open. It's the easiest way to get any questions answered. It's the easiest way to get any feedback. Because at Option Rally, we are all about customer support. And we will arrange for you to have all the one-on-one training with our trainers, with our education staff, whatever you need to become a successful trader. We are there to make you into the best trader you can be. And on that note, I'm going to say goodbye to everybody. Thank you very much for joining us today. Hopefully you did learn something. If you want to join us for our next webinar, which is called Getting Started with Binary Options, if you go to www.optionrally, here I'll show you too, right before we close the webinar, I'll show you where to find it. If you go over to our website, let me bring that up on your screen. Okay, and you go to www.optionrally.com, look under Academy, and click on the button that says Webinars. It'll give you an explanation of the three trading camp courses, and then you can see the schedule of all the classes, and just click on the one you want to attend. It'll open up, and on the bottom will be a link. You can't hyperlink it, so you have to copy and paste it, and that will get you set up in that next class. So you can see today we are at the Welcome to Binary Options. Let's go over to the February calendar. We have, again, welcome. Oh, this is today. Next week, the first week of each month, I have the week off. So after that, we have Welcome to Binary Options on the 9th. On the 10th, we have Getting Started. And then we have on the 11th, Mastering the Option Rally Platform. Okay, you can see also, if you scroll down, you can see all of our education classes, our special events for the month of February. Let's go February. See all the things that we are trading live in February, and you'll be invited to all of these. So on that note, I'm going to say thank you very much to all of you. I hope you learned something today. I hope you enjoyed your class. And I hope to see you in Getting Started with Binary Options, or I hope to see you trading with us. Have a great day. Bye now.